can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
How we doing? FT Live. Podfather Week continues.
Let's go, baby.
He's a grinder this week, Kratzy.
He is definitely grinding. Not
Team,
a grinder, but grinding.
Hey, and it's
wait.
perfect timing.
Watch yourself. You should be right here, and you're not.
The last thing I did,
you pipe down over there.
the last thing I did was smack your head off camera, and you didn't do anything to me when I was there. And now you're talking like I stole your like Debo. My mama gave me that chain.
That was you. I still feel it, man. Damn.
Hey, we are over 1,100 subs on YouTube. We're a very new show, so appreciate you. Over 1,000 videos on YouTube, which is pretty wild too. So there's enough
11,000.
content.
You said 1,100. 11,000.
Correct, 11,000. I
He's
do
on,
need
he's
to
on
add
one
a zero.
today. I love that.
Yeah, he's sharp today. That's a good call.
'Cause he's
11,000
home.
sounds
He's
much
home,
better,
that's why.
and it's real. Right, he's home. He's back in his safe space. Also, I feel like I was up late reading rumors. This is a seller's market to the highest degree. Might be the biggest seller's market I've seen. And for anyone unaware, seller's market as in if you're a team that stinks or you're trading away your good players, you're going to get more for those players versus previous years because there's not that many teams like that.
No, then there's a good amount of teams right now that need some ball players to get over the hump. And I think this is the exciting part. I said it yesterday. It's kind of like that calm before the storm. And then I hit you guys up last night. 3 trades just went down. This is the exciting time, man. And get your phones ready, get that TV on because we'll be showing everybody. Listen, we're gonna be on top of this coming up, so it's gonna be fun.
We will. We'll be all over this. Obviously, Monday when there's more trades going, and then Tuesday we're gonna have extensive coverage. Some of you have asked. We're gonna have hours and hours of trade deadline coverage for you as the last deadline deals are going down. So let's charge the mound and get to that trade that we were all texting about yesterday. And by the way, I'll sneak this in there. Russ Dorsey in 15 minutes. Grant McCauley, who covers the Braves at length, will join us in about an hour. And then Ross Stripling in hour number 2 as well. So Kiké Hernandez is heading home. And I got to say, this is a guy who is fun to cover. And for the Boston Red Sox, he had a good run this year, production down. He's probably pumped. I mean, he said it to reporters right away when they came up to him. He was like, I'm going home, baby.
I said, Kiki, do you love me? Hey, this guy, it's a great pickup, man. The guy's been doing it for a long time. He could play any position. He's been there before. He's a true Dodger, man. I got to be honest. When I think of him, I honestly think of him as a Dodger. And I think he couldn't be more excited knowing what he said. I know our guy Turner's not too happy about it. He had some sad emojis going on there. When you get used to somebody, they play together with the Dodgers, that's your boy. But, he's going to a team that's really good, even though the Red Sox are doing well, as we know. They got a good shot too. So I just think he's more comfortable there, and I think the excitement for him to get there, especially after the game they had last night, Dodgers are coming again. So good for him.
And there's AAA relievers Nick Robertson and Justin Hagenman that are going over to the Boston side. The Dodgers also get $2.5 million to cover the 3.6 remaining. So they're basically paying him about $1 million for the rest of the year. 6 years with the Dodgers for Kiké. So, Kratzy, here's where last year everyone was confused. Everyone was like, what the hell are the Red Sox doing? They're buying and selling. Ken said it yesterday on our show. JD Martinez wasn't dealt, but you dealt Christian Vazquez. You ultimately held Bogarts, but lowballed him on an offer. You should have. They were weird. They missed out on an opportunity last year. To me, this one feels different because Kiké, I mean, he has a 599 OPS with the team. Just wasn't hitting his stride. Wasn't helping them. So it doesn't feel like a total sell as much of a change of scenery. But how do you feel?
I felt like the Red Sox wanted to buy those 2 AAA guys, and they paid whatever $2.5 million to buy those 2 AAA guys. Because you go back a week and a half, Kiké's spot was not guaranteed. Kiké was he was one of the guys. I'm forgetting now who it was that was coming back off the IL, and they were sitting there. It was like a 3 or 4 player move that like he could have been the one on the outside. And I think this is a very Red Sox laden mistake here. Like they felt like they could stopgap him until Trevor Story came back and play shortstop for a little bit of time, and Story's not back. Story's not the short. Like there's a whole lot going on here that I think the Red Sox kind of screwed up the whole Kiké thing. And of course, you think the Dodgers get him, and you're like, all right, well, he's gonna probably hit. He's gonna have an 800 OPS. He's gonna hit like 10 homers down the stretch here, and it's just gonna be happy Kiké all day long.
And for the Dodgers, I mean, he had a great run. They had defined roles for him, which I felt like was very important. They need a right-handed bat. Kiké has struggled against right-handed pitching, but you plug him in against lefties, things could go really well on that front. Justin Turner, of course, with him, and he's sad that he lost him, another former Dodger. But you know what stood out to me, Todd Father, is Alex Cora had a quote yesterday after the trade went down. Here it is from Alex Spear. He said, from Cora, says, in retrospect, he wishes the Sox had pushed to keep Kiké Hernandez in camp, in spring training, to work at shortstop rather than joining Team Puerto Rico for the WBC as a center fielder. So help me out here, because no matter what, Cora was taking a shot. But I'm not exactly sure who was he taking a shot at. Was he taking a shot at Kiké because he wanted him to stay in and learn shortstop more, like Miguel Rojas? Remember when Gavin Lux went down, he decided to stay and not go to the WBC and work on the position. He hasn't hit much, so obviously that didn't work out. Or is he taking a shot at the Red Sox for not kind of pushing this, like, say, the Cardinals did with Wilson Contreras? Like, is this a shot at the player, the team, both? It's got to be somebody.
I think it might be a little bit of both, but I think he's just a little bitter. I mean, honestly, just in the fact where it's like, you know, if you liked him that much, well, why didn't you say something? You know what I mean? You're the manager. Why didn't you come out and be like, hey, man, I don't think it's a good idea. I want you to work on shortstop a little bit. I think it's more management, if you want the truth. But, you know, these things come around 4 years. You know what you're getting. So, I mean, you had plenty of time to figure this out once they decided to, you know, if he really wanted to go there. I think it's more management. I don't think it's at the player. I think he likes him a lot, but I think it's just maybe a little bitterness because he's gone. And, you know, he didn't, you know, he's going back to the Dodgers. Like I said, it wasn't the best numbers, but at the same time, when you get comfortable somewhere, like going back to LA, you might see him take off no matter who's pitching, righty or lefty.
I agree. I think, I mean, offensively, he's having a really down year, like we've talked about. I don't think he can go much lower. So you figure he's going to go to LA. He's going to feel good. They're going to put him in a good spot. I'm wondering, playing off what you're saying, Todd, to Kratzy, if there was some communication, like, hey, we don't have Story. We want you to be our guy. What do you think about staying? I don't know. No.
I don't know. I mean, how many ground balls does Kiké Hernandez need to be a big league shortstop? To me, to me, I think it was a shot at Cora taking a shot at the front office or whoever decided he's going to be the big league shortstop. To be a big league shortstop, it is a real thing. You can plug Kiké in at shortstop. He is not a big league shortstop. He's not an everyday shortstop. You can plug somebody in other positions, but you have to, that's a premium position. And he couldn't consistently make the plays, whether it was a rushed throw that was bad throws. It was box glove because it was, you know, speed of the game was catching up to him. So to me, I think it was more Cora saying, I don't think he's a big league shortstop. And the front office saying, yes, he is. Analytically, we say this, we're going to go with him. And he didn't stay around, and he could have been like, hey, I told you, you watched him in spring training, he can't make the plays. And then they had to do it in the season.
Yeah, and he struggled at shortstop.
Yeah. We'll talk about errors. I mean, remember we bringing up talking about errors, I was going kind of obsolete, but at the same time, there's positions he could play. He'd play all over the field.
Yep.
He's chirpy in all the best ways possible. I love everything about it. You know, he's going to bring energy. He's emotional. He's funny. And going back to LA, he's going to walk in there with open arms. And he's like, I'm back, you know, one of those things, and do a little cha-cha dance. And
wear the banana suit.
Whatever, yeah.
He
Whatever
did
he
back
wants
in
to
the day.
wear. Yeah, no doubt.
But
And
yeah,
Andy's
Go
gonna
ahead.
play. Andy's gonna play. 4 out of 6 days, 3 out of 5 days, and they're not gonna run him out there overexposing him. You look at his numbers when he went to Boston. He did well his first year. You start creeping up those at bats per games played. He just got a little overexposed. And he is a good player, 20 home run guy in LA. They do a good job of relaying signs. Dudes can hit homers in that way. It's all that kind of stuff.
Hey, that's coming from a catcher. That sounded a little better to me, coming from a catcher there. But that's
Hey,
okay.
relaying signs is completely legal
Completely legal.
if you do it the right way.
Hey,
It's
but
completely legal. Just
that
throwing
won't
that out
stop
there.
you from throwing a little bow tie up there, as we've seen yesterday too, as well.
That's true. That's
Not
true.
from a sign. Not from a sign, though. Just from a homer, maybe.
Nope. And for Kiké, I mean, the last thing I'll say here is the Red Sox, had a shortstop. His name was Xander Bogaerts.
Mm-hmm.
His name is still Xander Bogaerts.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, he's not been great. He's been good, not great with the Padres, but they didn't keep him. And Story's the guy when he comes back soon. So
that might have part of it too.
that's part of the shot too.
Yeah,
probably.
I think so.
Like, hey guys, you didn't keep another franchise player.
He kept that one in the back, and he was waiting for that without saying something. Without saying something, you know what I mean?
I agree. All right, so you want a little bow tie? How about Juan Soto smacking a majestic home run for the Padres in a win over the Pirates? Dinger. His 20th of the season off of Angel Perdomo. Next pitch, Manny Machado smacked in the back with the baseball. And, I'll give credit to Manny. He didn't charge him. He didn't freak out. He was pretty chill about the situation. And then even post-game, it was a Manny-ish quote, kind of, chill, but also thrown out there like, no, I get no respect here. He said, quote, I guess people don't respect people anymore. I guess that's what changed. 300, and I think he had said 300 pumps in the show, 10 years plus, but it is what it is. Ain't no worry. We got the win, which is the most important part, and nothing was broken, so we're good. You pissed? You charging the mound?
Yeah, I'm not happy about what
charging
happened.
the mound though?
Listen,
depends where you are in your career.
I've never charged a mound in my career, to be honest with you. But it's one of those things. Let's be frank here, and I'm always real. When you get hit by a pitch, first off, I'm not one of those guys that's like, I got to go get him. I'm like in shock for one, and then I kind of come to the realization of what I should do. Then by that time, you already made a mistake. You either go get him or you don't. But yeah, I like the quote. I like what he said. I thought it wasn't nothing derogatory. Just say, hey, man, give me a little respect here. I mean, listen, I wasn't the one that did it, even though I've been playing well lately. You're going to hit me in the back. I honestly think it would have been different if I don't think it hurt him. I think it got him in a good spot where, nicked him. Now you're going to eye him up. I'm going to let you know, like, whatever. Perdomo just stood there. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was the right decision to get him out of there, and we move on.
Also, what's the beef, Kratzy? Like, what's the problem here? Like, you don't like Machado if you're Perdomo? Like, who the hell are you? I mean, was there past history that we don't know about? Because I was trying to look it up, and I didn't see shit.
He wanted to face the next guy in the order, and he wasn't going to waste 4 pitches going around him. And Perdomo is 6'8", 265 pounds. That's why Machado didn't come. Machado went, he gave this little oh, it kind of hurt. And he turned around and looked at him and was like, just going to walk to first base. Like, Perdomo is an absolute monster. And I think they threw him out because they sat there and watched his reaction. Perdomo wasn't afraid of Machado. Perdomo's like, you're not coming out here. And if you do, let's get it on. And I got no issue with guys throwing at guys, but this was like you
here it comes.
It was definitely here it comes. I mean, he put some extra cheese on that. There was some extra hair on that ball.
98.
And Machado's quote after the game was kind of, I don't know. You kind of get a glimpse into Machado, I think.
Erik doesn't. I don't mind the quote. Erik doesn't like that kind of stuff. From knowing Erik for a long, I don't mean to
but
jump
that's
into
not fair.
No,
Kratzy,
listen.
because what did
He
Machado
doesn't
do
like,
wrong
but
in this case?
he doesn't like the arrogance that I think Machado's trying to portray with
Arrogance,
the quote.
like
well, let's hear him out.
Okay.
But no, I knew you were going to say that just because I know you so well. Erik would be like, hey, why not come out and be like, yo, I didn't. It wasn't right. He shouldn't have thrown at me. Something simple as that. But he didn't like the way Machado talked about it. I knew you were going to say that.
Yep.
Okay.
I love that.
Kratzy,
I
what
love
you
that
want him
about
to say. Okay, ready? Post game, I'm the dumbass reporter in the clubhouse going, hey, how'd you feel about getting hit on the back next pitch there, Kratzy?
I didn't like it. And if he's got a problem with me, then we're going to have to make sure we protect the rest of our teammates.
I like it. I like that too.
But no, Manny made it about him. Look at me. Oh, look, I got 300 homers. That's telling me that dude is insecure. If you got to tell somebody about the kind of player you are, that means nobody's built you up enough and you are feeling bad about yourself. So that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, fair. I'll give you the part of you don't need to drop your stats. I would just be like, how about this if I'm him, okay, for next time? I'm going to kick that dude's ass if he ever throws at any of us again.
Because Manny's not going to do that. That's a lie.
That's like Jake Arrieta telling me I'm going to put a dent in my skull when
Did Arrieta tell you that?
Me and him had the beef. You can't just come. You could say it.
What'd you say to him?
I never responded because I left, and then after we talked about it afterwards. But
Cleared it?
Yeah, we're clear. We're clear now.
We're clear. Okay, good.
I asked him. My head's a little harder. He might not be able. We were messing around, but yeah. That was after I got hit. I was hit 6 times in 4 games against the Phillies, and I said, and me and Jake were good friends, but I had to spark and plug a little bit, so I got thrown out of that game.
That's fair.
Yeah, I was pissed.
Enough's enough. Yeah, but he didn't drop his home run total.
I just wish Erik was catching. That's all.
All right, poll question for you. Yeah, scan the QR code on your screen or watchstadium.com/foul territory. We want to hit the Astros with Russ Dorsey next among many topics. So what do you think they need to do at the deadline? Grab a starter, a reliever, a bat, or I don't really care because you don't like the Astros. I just want to throw it out there because I know the comments are going to come around. And that might be Todd Father. I know that's not his favorite team. So Russ is coming back to go over the rumors about Lance Lynn to the Rays that are floating around right now. We'll get to that next. Original position, you know this.
Catcher.
So there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to be okay at first. Now, did I expect him to make an incredibly dangerous catch? That was awesome, but very dangerous for somebody who's dealt with some injuries lately. There it is. Against the netting. Incredible. I mean, thanks to the netting, that would have been much worse if you're just falling
that left
into
elbow
the
would
seats like that. Ooh, right against the pole there, right?
I think he might have thought it was like the netting was
Right
up on
there,
that first fence, that first low fence, and he would have just like bounced off of it. But I don't know if I want my guy going back in there. Fortunately, the left elbow isn't the one that he had repaired, and he went in with the left elbow. That could have been Owie McAwison. But he's athletic. But while they may ease him into it, the Guardians were like, we're not easing you into it.
No.
We're snap hooking balls. They're making plays down the line. The Sun, I don't know if you ever played first base in Cleveland. First base, ball's coming from third.
Or short.
Is it from short to? I remember it coming up over that glass there. It's setting behind that glass.
Terrible.
And it's like, hey, you don't mind like bouncing the ball? It is bad. So
For about
planning,
yeah.
and Cleveland bunts more than any team. I was locked into this series for the weekend at the Shore, and it was like, it was Bryce Harper everywhere, diving for making line drive at him. That was like kind of knuckling, and he kind of caught it like this, and then he dives in. He's an athlete. He is an athlete, and it shows.
And usually there's people taking pictures there.
And now back to foul territory.
What's up? FT Live back with you on Stadium. Braun, Frazier, Kratzy. We've got the poll question running right now about the Astros. We'll get into them coming up in just a second. And our guy, Russ Dorsey. What's going on, Russ? We caught you in the act.
He told that guy, yo, don't go behind. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, wow.
Who is that? Hey, Russ, who is that behind you, man?
That's a former Michigan quarterback, Devin Gardner, wanting to make his presence known.
Oh, okay.
He's going up
I
and down
remember
the
him.
steps.
He's a child. He's a child. Is that what they teach y'all in Michigan?
Let's see that Heisman pose, big dog. Damn.
Yo, put your Ohio State jersey on and just sack him.
Right. What's going on, guys?
How we doing? All right, so let's start with one of the fresher rumors going out there right now, and we'll show the tweet too for you, Russ. And you know, all the insiders are getting involved here with their take. They're all calling their White Sox and their Rays sources, being like, "What are we hearing here?" So fair or foul on Lance Lynn and the fit with the Tampa Bay Rays. Lynn's strikeout rate has surged this year. And do we want to show Ken, or we got a little Bob Nightingale? We got a few, there we go, Bob Nightingale. He said the Rays are engaged in serious talks with the White Sox for veteran starter Lance Lynn. The two sides have already exchanged names. And it's funny, like you get the insider, and here, I'll read this part first. The Rays are one of 10 teams on his no-trade list, but he's informed the White Sox he'll waive it for a chance to be with the Rays. You know what I love too is like the petty stuff from all the insiders once Bob puts that out there. Like there's some insiders that are like I've been saying in my notes columns for weeks now, this is going on at the moment. Like Bob's not doing anything new here. It's just like fun to see all the beef that's going on with your colleagues.
The insider life is interesting, right? Because everybody is trying to do the same thing. Everybody wants to be really good at it. It's competitive. Like you guys know as athletes, like you want to compete, you want to be the best. At the same time, man, like you can't get caught up in, because I don't want to ever undercut somebody. I respect everybody that does this job. I know how hard it is to do it. So no, but it is funny amongst reporters, and you even see that, you know, on the beat level as well. Like, hey, I had this part, right? You know, I had this part of the trade, right? I had who was included in the package. So it's interesting over here. Also, Scott, dumbass reporter asking Machado the question. What's going on, man?
Yeah, he's changed, man. He's changed, man.
I lost my gig.
This guy's changed.
That wasn't a shot at you, Russ.
Nah. I got to defend the brotherhood of reporters. Come on, man.
You know what?
About the sisters?
I'm the first guy.
The sisterhood, the personhood. There we go, Kratzy. Keep me on my toes, Kratzy.
I apologize. I was just having fun. I used a playful word that was no offense to your reporter club.
Your reporterism.
The community.
Yeah, exactly. Please still give me votes when it's Hall of Fame time.
Yeah.
That's your power.
No 4T Frick Award for you, buddy.
Hey, Russ, I got
definitely not going for it. I think there's like a curse meter for the Ford C frickin' Frick Award.
There you go. I got yelled at yesterday for asking Ken who the last person texted him on his phone. So that's where I'm at in life right now. My insider stuff.
He texted us after. He's like, Todd Father's trying to grab my sources right now.
I was. Russ, let me talk to you about something. The White Sox and the Cubs are playing today. Is this the last start for the Stroman and Lynn episode here in Chicago, or what?
So I guess it remains to be seen if Lance Lynn actually makes his start tonight. I think from the Stroman side, the Cubs are 5-1 in the last 7 days. And they're making it really hard for Jed Hoyer and Carter Hawkins, their front office tandem, to not be a buyer at the deadline as opposed to being a seller. If the Cubs stay playing the baseball that they're playing, right, I think it's going to be really hard for them to convince themselves out of being a buyer, right? Like you look at it, are you going to go make a big move? No, a big splashy move? No, but I think you're showing enough. And David Ross talked about it yesterday when I was at the ballpark. Like, hey, we're tired of selling around here. Like we have a group of guys that want to go out there and win ball games, but at the same time, you know that you have to make it tough on that front office by winning games. Like, and we talked about this last week with the Padres. Everybody thinks the Padres come into the season, oh man, World Series contender. But unless you're winning games, that doesn't really matter. Like on paper, doesn't get you to the World Series, right? It's what happens, what's in the win column, what's in the loss column. So do I think this is Stroman's last start in a Cubs uniform? I'm split, because if the Cubs play 500 ball sure, I can understand them saying, well, if the guy might opt out anyway, let's go ahead and get something for him. But if you're in a position in a wonky division to go make a push, make a run with guys playing good ball right now, I think that's what you got to do.
I think one of the things that keeps coming up is, oh, this team's going to make this decision based on how the rest of the season goes. But a lot of teams are making decisions like Ohtani's making decisions based on attendance. That's not an issue for the Cubs. The Cubs are in an enviable position. Fans are still going to come out, whether you think, whatever his name was, Leva or whatever it was, who had went off on Cubs fans, whether they're good fans or not, they're still going to come out. So wouldn't this be the time to make what you said, the splashy move for the Cubs? Send Stroman out. That's their splashy move. That's the move that I think will help the org.
I get what you're saying. And I think it's something I've talked about a lot of last week, like reshuffling the deck in a lot of ways. Like, is there a way that you can buy and sell, right? Knowing that logically, if you have a guy in a Marcus Stroman that can opt out, has pitched really well this season and earned himself another big payday at the end of the year, as opposed to not getting anything for him and letting him walk at the end of the year, why not go out, you move him to a team that's probably better positioned for him to make a run in the postseason, you get something back, and then you continue your upward trajectory in the offseason and make your splashy move. Then, when you're only spending money, you're not giving up money and prospect capital. Because I think you guys look at the Chicago Cubs and say, all right, it's a team that's clearly moving in the right direction. But you're not putting them in the same conversation with the D-backs and the Braves and the Phillies and the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, like those teams. Like, I think those are the big boys. I don't know if the Cubs are in that big boy conversation. Yes.
Okay, so I'm always pushing for teams to go for it if they've got a shot, a legit shot. I just don't see it with the Cubs. I've watched enough of them this year. Like, this team is not winning the World Series. In my mind, they're not making it to the postseason. And I could say the same thing about the Angels. And there's a second layer to this. Those teams, in my mind, would have to be significant buyers. If they decide we're not going to sell, we're just going to chill, you're not going anywhere. So it's just weird that the Cubs are going potentially game by game right now to decide where they're at. You're many games below 500. You need to be realistic with yourself right now. And I'm the first. These guys can back me up. I'm the first person to say, screw you, you should go for it to most of the teams. Like, stop it, right? And we'll get to some of those other teams a little bit later on. The Cubs, to me, are a classic case of, like, it's not there. You want it to be there. It's not there yet, And I know you're a big market team. You haven't spent enough like a big market team lately, besides on the community around you and buying up every piece of real estate in the freaking Wrigley area. But as far as the team is concerned, this is one of the biggest sellers markets I've ever seen. So, Russ, for me, I'm like, you absolutely must trade Cody Bellinger. He's going to be the biggest position player available. And for me, the only reason Stroman wouldn't get traded is if teams are so scared off about the player option and that there could be an injury and then he stays on, just like Rodon had last year. But otherwise, like, this is a huge time for them to strike. For me, I'm like pissed when I'm seeing them go game by game. Like, we're 100 games into the season. You still are going game by game to see if you're going to trade your guys or do nothing.
I think most front offices know who they are and where they are. But can you convince yourself by the way that, like, look at them since the All-Star break, they're playing really good baseball, right? And so you have to take that into account. But at the same time, you mentioned them selling. They have a fan base that is quite different than others, right? It's not Baltimore or Arizona. It's more like a New York, a Philly, where it's just like, you don't go for it for the third consecutive year, your fans are going to let you hear about it. And I think Kratz is right when they said, look, they sell out. Like, you guys have played in those 120 day games at Wrigley Field, packing the house in the middle of July, middle of August, September, April, doesn't matter. Like, fans are going to be there. And I think being in this city, knowing how Cubs fans have felt since the trades of Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, and Javi Baez, they're tired of, being in feeling like they're in the little kids pool. And at some point they want to be at the big kids table again. But what is the balance of front office? Hey, we built this thing up to be sustained, but also we're tired of not being a good team.
Hey, now that's a good answer there. Even though I feel like you were going back and forth a little bit there. That's all right. Hey,
He's like,
it's all right.
confusion.
You're teetering a little bit. It's okay, man. I'm from Jersey.
You can make the case for both sides. Like I can't really say, oh, this side is dumb, this side isn't. Like you can look at it objectively and say, all right, this team should probably go for it. This team probably shouldn't. But if the fans that are paying their hard-earned money to come out to your ballpark and support your team, like we're tired of being in seller mode, I think front office take that into account a little bit. I'm not saying they take it out a ton, but let's say if of their 100%, 5-10% is like, all right, I'm tired of putting our fan base through this. And then you have to, at the other side, what is our ownership group thing, right? Because you have some ownership groups are like, do what you need to do. You have others that are like, let's go for it. Let's push our chips in.
Well, let's take it to another team in the AL West. They're the Mariners buyers or sellers right now. They're 4.5 games out of the wild card. What should you do there? We have Paul Sewald on. I was making him nervous that DePoto was watching every move he was making. So what do you think the Mariners should do?
Man, the Mariners are such an enigma, right? You look at what they've been all year long. It's like this team should be so much better than they are. And last season, breaking the 21-year stretch without reaching the postseason, and you have J-Rod become one of the stars in all of Major League Baseball. Ty France, who could absolutely swing it, bursts onto the scene. And then this year, you're expecting them to continue in that trajectory and really, be one of the big boys in the AL West. You're not expecting the Rangers to come out and do what they did in the first half. But J-Rod hasn't been J-Rod. There's been a lot of up and down, what you expect from a young player. But there's been lately a lot more down than up. Ty France hasn't swung the bat like we've seen him in years past. Teoscar Hernandez, who was a big acquisition for them in the offseason, has had an up and down season as well. And so because none of those guys have really gotten things going offensively, it's put a lot of pressure on that rotation that has a lot of talented young arms with George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. You bring in Luis Castillo and you sign him to an extension, like really talented rotation. But you guys have been in the room when you have an offense that isn't performing, not putting up runs. It puts a lot of pressure in those pitchers to be like, all right, I got to put up zeros every day, right? Like we have to go 6-7 innings and give up 2 runs or less because our offense just can't get it done right now. So should they be a buyer or seller? It's leaning towards seller to me. But at the same time, like the wild card makes it so interesting for a lot of teams, right? Like we were mentioning with the Cubs, like one good week and you can convince yourself in your mind that you're better than you probably are.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to need more of a definitive answer on this one. Who wins the trade deadline between the Rangers and the Astros? They're playing each other right now. And I think far and above, I think the Rangers are out in front. Who wins the trade deadline in the sense of now we're going to pass? We're going to pass that other team.
My gut says the Stros. Because I think you look at the baseball the Astros have been playing for a while there with no Yordan Alvarez, who is going to be a perennial MVP candidate for the next decade. And guys kind of trying to figure out where they are. You had Jose Abreu coming into a new city, trying to figure out his role with that team after years here in Chicago. They've played good baseball as of late. They're 13-7 in their last 20 in the month of July in the last 20 games. The Rangers are 10-10 in the month of July. Haven't played at the level we saw them play at in the first half and at the end of the first half. And while the Rangers probably need a move more, especially with the way that they've been playing, they've kind of been stagnant, especially that starting pitching. Their bullpen hasn't been great as of late. I believe the Astros, because of the way they're playing baseball, a lot of those guys have figured it out. You have Alvarez back. Bregman's playing really good baseball. Chas McCormick has been really good for them, and Kyle Tucker is swinging it right now. I actually think the Astros are going to make a more impactful move at the deadline.
There you go. I like that. All right, keep that energy going right now because our friends at Cookie Pop are going to help us pop off right now. Let's run it. All right, nice and simple here for you, Russ. And you can go multiple teams if you want, but who are you feeling most passionate about at this moment for ball clubs that need to make a statement? need to make a trade that tells your fan base this year is our year?
The Tampa Bay Rays. And they are 5-14 in the month of July. They had a significant lead in the AL West, and the O's chased them down. And now you have a situation where you've lost a lot of they had a ton of starting pitching depth when the season started. They lost Drew Rasmussen for what will likely be the season. You lost Jeffrey Springs for the season with Tommy John surgery. You're just getting Tyler Glasnow back. Shane McClanahan is a fantastic starting pitcher, one of the best in the American League, but you never know if he's going to be banged up at some point. And so they need to go out and make an impactful move. You hear the reports about Lance Lynn. That's something that helps them, and something we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. Having a guy that's pitched in that division in impactful games is important. Even on a staff with as much talent as they have in Taj Bradley, Shane McClanahan, Tyler Glasnow, to have a veteran on that staff for an offense that for the better part of 3 months was one of the best in all of baseball. I think that's the team that needs to go out and say, hey, we haven't played great ball as of late, but we're still a really, really good baseball team, and we have an opportunity to do some special things in October.
And this just in, Zach Eflin left today's game with left knee discomfort. It's not a shoulder, arm, whatever, but it's not great. And he didn't pitch well today for Tampa Bay. 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. So if that's not adding on to your case, I don't know what is.
There always seems to be something like what the guy needs.
They get a lot of pitching injuries.
No, but I'm just saying, like when a team needs somebody, there's always something like happens beforehand. Like it's not just one thing. There's always something going on. I don't know.
That helps to give you a push, doesn't it?
No doubt about it.
Yeah. All right, I like it, Russ. Good stuff, man. We'll talk to you soon, dude.
Thank you, guys. Oh, real quick, Scott, before I go,
Yes.
Todd, I want to tell you, I apologize for playing the both sides of the fence, but I wanted to when I'm talking to fans out there, I'm trying to give the complete perspective. Like, okay, I understand what teams are thinking sometimes, but I also want to give them a perspective of like you guys as players, what fans are thinking. So it's not me trying to play the fence. I'm just trying to give full perspective.
Listen, we're getting used to Scott's new gig here. He's changed. You're changing. It's okay. It's the way the world's going. We're all changing right now. It's all good,
What
big
was the
dog.
word I used? Dumbass.
Dumbass reporters. That's what I am. Scott was actually talking about me.
He was. I know he was.
That's cold.
Inside, he was.
That's been my dog for years, Scott. That's how we are. That's where we are.
Come on,
Never.
Scott.
In fact, Russ, you're invited on, what is it, Tuesday for sure. We're going to do like a longer hangout, and we are going to just either praise or bash trades. We are going to like tell everyone what needs to be done for those hours leading up to the trade deadline. So like, get ready. None of us are going to be dumbasses. Only the GMs are dumbasses on Tuesday for either doing it wrong or doing it right.
All right. Hopefully my feelings won't be hurt by then.
Recover. Go
See you
sack
guys.
Gardner in the background. We'll talk to you soon, dude.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers. Hey, and for everyone out there who's into things that taste good, visit cookiepopcandypop.com and enter code FOULBALL for 20% off. We've been popping off all day already. Swinging back on Stadium with a little game time action. We've got games going on now. We've got some games tonight. We'll run through the evening slate and give you some that you should be paying extra attention to or grabbing a seat for.
You don't see many people throw curveballs anymore, and yours is just so deceptive and so nasty, especially since you throw that hard.
I think, like, since I was young, I've always been able to, like, supinate, just, like, get on the right side of a baseball. I think I got, like, weird, like, strange, like, wrist alignments, just being so tall. I walk around like a weirdo, too. Like, I got strange wrists. But I've always just been able to, like, spin a ball well. I always struggled with, like, command of it, especially when I was younger. But I think, like, the consistency of throwing it more often, I got a lot more comfortable with it. And I think as, like, I got stronger and I just became more, like aware of my body, like better proprioception, I was able to kind of, like, put it into a zone. And, like, the only thing I think about now is I don't even necessarily try to throw it for a strike ever. I just try to throw it, like, as aggressive as I can and make it look like a heater. Like, if I just threw a fastball down, I'm trying to throw it like 45 feet. I want it to look exactly like that heater. So if I, like, if I'm trying to throw up with my heater, but I miss down, I'm just trying to make it look identical. And there's a lot of times I'll throw it like, it's tough for catchers. Like I'll really short change the catcher there, and I have a lot of pass balls and stuff. But I think for like swing and miss rate and for like tunneling purposes, I just try to make it look like a heater and not necessarily trying to like drop it in unless it's like early in the count or something like that.
No doubt. Are you big on analytics? Are you studying your pitches and all that kind of stuff as well?
It depends on, like, I like all the spin efficiency stuff and like when I'm good, when I'm bad, like what I feel. I think for me, like physical cues, I can feel. I'm always going to be more like athletic approach. Like I'm not really going to like nerd out on stuff, but I think sometimes if I can marry the two with what I feel physically and what the metrics, what output I can get from that, and if I can kind of combine the two and like use that to make me understand when I'm throwing a good one, that's kind of what I do. So we have like X and Y breaks. X and Z, see, I barely know. At the stadium, it's like shows us like the vertical and horizontal metrics, and I look at that all the time. Like some people radar peep, I do both. I radar peep and I look at the two numbers, and I just try to see like which one's good, which one's bad. And a lot of times too, you can tell from the metrics if I'm like late or if I'm early. Or...
And now back to foul territory.
Hey, we're back. FT Live on Stadium. Quick poll question answer. What do you want for the Astros?
I don't care.
No, I want say it. Say it. You don't care.
No,
That's good.
I don't care.
Exactly. Kratzy, that was an answer.
That was an answer.
Don't care. They're not going to win the division. Rangers are.
Ooh.
Okay. Astros are winning a division. I want a reliever, and that is actually finally grabbed a pretty solid lead. But nobody's really going for the bat. But reliever is in the lead. Don't care is in second. Starter after that. Because for me, Rafael Montero is not doing it this year. So it's Presley, Abreu, Neris. They need another dude in their circle of trust because right now it is not Montero. All right, second poll question of the day. You know what to do. Scan the QR code or watchstadium.com/foul territory. Very easy and free to participate. Most memorable event on July 26th. Was it Adrian Beltre ejected after dragging the on-deck circle? The Royals picking up Johnny Cueto from the Reds. That was pretty helpful for them.
Oh,
they won
that
a World
killed me.
Series.
I didn't like it.
No, I know you didn't.
That was my guy.
And then, yeah, that was your guy. Matt Garza, first no-hitter in Tampa Bay Rays history, also occurred on this day in 2010. Let's hit some games. There are some matchups this evening. Last minute game time, baby. You hit that game time app, which I got to throw out there. Kratzy's not doing it, but Kratzy, I'm still on the fence. I might go to the Phils game with Dad, maybe Mom as well. We're figuring it out post-game. We'll see. It's a little early. I got to drive, but it's on the radar for me. So we're looking to hit last-minute tickets for a game. There's about half the slate taking place this evening. So for me, obviously, it's an automatic. I might hit Bradish against Suarez, Baltimore and Philly, two teams that can pack a punch. We'll see what happens. But I got to say, Kratzy, I you know how I like to bold the games that I'm really into?
Yes.
I started bolding, and I was bolding almost every game, so then I just got rid of it.
No bolding needed. We should have been better, speaking of radar, reading the radar last night because we could have we had plans to go to the game last night. Didn't. That game was epic, one of the crazy comebacks. But no, I'm going straight up to Boston. I'm shipping off to Boston, taking our guy Jeremy with us. We're going to go see Strider and Bajo just punch tickets all night long. Anytime you go to Fenway, I love that place. Just absolute energy. And you never know. They might have a shortstop playing tonight that is going to make their plays for him. Maybe a little Yu Chang in the shortstop position tonight.
Getting it warm for Trevor Story.
Very nice. Oh,
Trevor, I think he's rehabbing. When's Story coming back? I'll look it up while Todd Father takes his private jet somewhere. Or actually, I don't think you have to. Where are you going?
No, I was going to go there until he said he's bringing Jeremy. But I am I am going to stay close to home, and I'm going to stick with the Subway Series, bro. You can't beat that. Yanks versus Mets, Quintana, Rodon, two lefties going at it. I know it's not the most exciting time right now for both teams. Yankees still have a really good shot. Mets have an outside shot. But if you're from this area, you're not – anytime you can go to a Subway Series, you're going to go. And that's where I'll just take a hop, skip, and a jump, and I'll be there.
I mean, when does the pressure mount for the Yanks? Because the Mets, in my mind, they're done. They got to make trades, even though, like, my friends and fam that have been texting texting me about the Mets. They're like, hey, I think they should still go for it. I'm like, do you know how the standings work? But you got Rodon tonight.
Yeah.
It's starting to look bleak. Like you gotta put a little win streak together. And I know Judge is coming back soon, but you can't lose a couple in a row here to the Mets.
No.
You know? By the way, Trevor's story looks like the rehab assignment's wrapping up soon. So he's kind of day to day to come back with the Red Sox. I'll throw a few others out there. Andrew Heaney against Framber Valdez. So Texas, you got to make some noise against Houston, and that's the game.
One game
games
back.
I got my eye on for later, but one game back. I think that's going to be a great matchup this evening, and particularly because unless something changes, Altuve's back, and Yordan Alvarez has been out for a minute, and he's back. I mean, he's their best hitter by far.
Cavalry's coming.
Exactly. That's what Dusty Baker said. Cavalry's coming, and he's kind of like, if you've been doubting us, it's about to get real ugly for some of the teams that they're going to face, because this team's been hanging on, looking fine, and now they've got 2 out of their 3 or 4 best hitters coming back. So I like that one. And then I would say a lot of people, Kratzy, probably are looking at Strin again. Strin. I'm trying to combine Lynn and Stroman. Strin and Lohman. Lance Lynn against Marcus Stroman. Yeah, Lynn might not pitch if he gets dealt. Stroman, I think, has got another one in him. Lorenzen, too, for Detroit. I'm surprised that he hasn't been dealt yet just because he's been so damn good. And I'd be freaking out if I'm like Scott Harris, the GM of the Tigers, going like, please don't get hurt. One more start left. I'm going to get 2 good prospects out of this.
You can't hurt Superman. Those biceps, they're not getting hurt. He's going out there. He's going to give him his 6 innings. Shohei's going to hit a dinger off him. But he's going to – I think he's a guy that's going to be dealt after teams are like, other asking price, way too high.
Yeah, he's like your option B after what? Stroman and Giolito?
I would say so.
Okay, cool. Hey, check out gametime.co or hit the app if you want to get hooked up with last-minute tickets. And don't be dumb like Kratzy and me. Don't be a dumbass media personality. Make sure you're locked in on the weather. And when it says that it's going to end like in the 6 range with the rain and the game's at 7, then just head over. You can drive in the rain. Like, just be careful. Be safe. Don't use the app while you're driving. But otherwise, hit that, click on the zone deal or look for a flash deal. You can browse away, see where you'd like your viewing experience to be. If you're not listening to the pod, if you're watching on YouTube right now, we're giving you that experience, but it shouldn't be stressful for you. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports or whatever else. Last minute tickets. You've got the game time guarantee, of course, which is a favorite of ours. You'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, they will credit you 110% of the difference. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Just you create the account, you go to the redeem part, you hit FTLive, all caps, please. $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We'll keep previewing games tonight and pick our locks because we're smoking hot. We also had a little parlay action with the Mets and Verlander that we'll go over when we swing back. And in hour number 2, a big Braves conversation with one of their writers / media personalities. And Ross Stripling is going to join us in hour number 2. We've got a lot for him. Big prospect debut tonight that Ross is going to fill us in on. Our guy Steve Cohen and the New York Mets. So yes, I think some fans are going to be like, you guys talk so much about, especially with Ken, the Cardinals, the Padres, and the Mets. No shit. These are some of the most disappointing seasons we've seen from teams in this status in a long time, Ken. And now we're approaching the trade deadline when all of these teams could be selling away players and could be the talk of the trade deadline. So yes, we're going to go there and you're going to write about them. So give us a little bit about what you recently covered, which has to do with the Mets' high-priced talent. Yeah, we know the guys that are going to be a free agent soon, like Robertson and Canna, but I'm thinking about Max and JV. How complicated, is it too complicated to be able to pull off a deal with one of those 2 guys?
First of all, Scott, thank you for saying that. And I hear it all the time from people. All you do is write about the Mets. Really? Most expensive team in history. Perhaps the biggest flop of all time. Guess what? They're going to get written about. They're going to get written about a lot. The Padres, not far behind them in terms of payroll. The Cardinals, it's simply shocking what has happened to them. We write about things that are relevant to readers and viewers, and that's the way it goes. And I know if you're a fan of the team, you might not like it. Well, too bad. I'm not here to be your cheerleader and your pom-pom squad.
Tell him,
right,
Kenny.
Now, that said,
That was good.
Yeah.
JV and Scherzer, they're complicated. Same reason as Goldschmidt and Arenado for starters, in that they have full no-trade clauses. So the way I put it in print today was they not only can control the process, they can disrupt the process. That said, if you can convince one of them to go, they also have complicated contracts. Scherzer has an opt-out for next year. If he opts in, it's $43.33 million. Verlander has a conditional player option for 2025. That's for $35 million. It kicks in if he pitches next year 140 innings. So not only is there a lot of money on the books this year, about $14 million each when the deadline hits, there's money in the future, potentially. That would have to be accounted for in any trade discussion. Now, the one thing that gives the Mets a huge advantage is Steve Cohen's wallet. He can pay down these salaries, include cash in the deals to effectively buy prospects.
And now back to foul territory.
We're back on FT Live on Stadium. And first off, every Tuesday, if you smash the BetMGM app and you look for the FT Heater Parlay, it is a special that is drawn up by your friends right here. And we got a little boost. Kratzy, I need you to focus, man. This was you and me kind of coming up with what we got to do here to give the people a dub. And what did we do? We gave them a dub. That was your max bet. Because some people are like, why are you doing 58.77? It was a max bet I could put out there for this promo boost because you can't boost for life. Otherwise, everyone would be rich as hell on one bet. But it was boosted very, very heartily. I think it was like plus 150 and we got it to plus 200. That's a dub. That's a Mets no sweat bet. And the Verlander part we had to sweat out, but he hit his 6Ks.
He hit it. That was no issue. I had my own off of that. You and I discussed the whole Yanks Mets. You convinced me on the Mets part, and I went a couple extra. Herman got me strikeouts plus a walk. I'm not sure from who. It was like plus 400. Appreciate you, BetMGM.
Very nicely done. Also, real quick, just want to throw out there our poll results that are now done. It was pretty even for most memorable MLB event from this day in history between Beltre, Cueto, and Garza. So, and that's still up there for the next few minutes here before we finish up the show. All right. Also, your free game of the day is up there for you. Tonight's finale of the Reds and Brewers. It's streaming on the BetMGM app. Live streaming is available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in and have funded accounts. This is the last Reds Brewers matchup of the season. It is not even August. It would be, there was some weird thing where it's like if they finish in first and second, it's like the earliest that first and second have ever finished up their season series. I'm like, well, that's not good. But in fairness, the schedule is made a billion years in advance. Nobody saw this coming for Cincinnati, so they weren't like, hey, let's have Reds Brewers kind of pumped in the end of the season. So I'll give them the mulligan on that one. But let's get it together, schedule makers. BetMGM locks for you coming up on this Wednesday because we're hot as hell. We banged our parlay. We all hit our bets. Nice under there. Sneaky little Cincinnati.
It was getting a little dicey at the end there.
Yeah.
But I got it by one. Hey,
4-3.
Just got to win.
Kratzy with his strikeout walk madness. You got to keep up with him, but you hit it at plus 120, Kratzy. Well done.
Thank you. You can't not listen to a guy that's wearing an ice cream hat on his head in his picture.
Cleveland for me. They bounce back. Like it. If you're paying attention on a daily basis, you were like, Cleveland just lost to KC. You know that their offense is going to put up enough. And Savali's been great. So that was a dub. So here we are. Okay. We flash up the money bags. We are looking fresh right now. Everybody's up at a very, very, very solid rate. And our BetMGM locks of the day.
Crazy. That's just amazing. He's under 500, but he's up the most money.
Well,
he
lays down the heat when he needs to.
I went strong.
But also, this is why we do that. Just a quick clarification. We do this because he often goes with plus bets. So that'll make him more dough, right? Like
No
the
doubt.
people that are out there, you know who you are, that say, oh, I'm 20 games over 500. It's like, yeah, you're picking games that are minus 220. So when you lose those games,
Of course.
you destroy yourself. So just throwing that out there. Kratzy, you do your complicated stuff first. It looks a little simpler today for us.
A little simpler. No walk put in there, but I'm gonna go Stroman plus 4 strikeouts and Lynn plus 6. The guy's ears are burning. We're talking about them the whole show. The only thing I'm nervous about, and I didn't really even think this was going to happen until Todd asked the question, is he going to make this next start? So if is it a void if Lynn doesn't start?
It would be.
I was going to drop that on you. Yeah, I was waiting for you to cue it up.
Yes, player. So I looked it up. It's a void, not a loss. I can deal with a void.
Yeah, no, you don't get a loss for that. They have to play in the game always for the props, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that could have a void attached to it. Todd, Father, you and me going with the same game plan here with Framber and Yordan and Altuve coming back. Seager's hurt. Adolis, I don't know what the deal is there. Like this kind of has all the makings of an Astros 8-2 dub.
Yeah, 5-1, 6-3, something like that to tie the Rangers in the division. This could be a sweep action. We'll see.
I agree. So we're both going Houston run line. It's at plus 110. I like it. And check out the BetMGM Swing for the Fences game. 3 ways to get it done. You log into the app on iOS or Android. You play the game where you pick an area of the strike zone, and then you'll either get a single, double, triple, homer, or pop out and get the prize associated with that result. You can play once a day. Your prize must be used on MLB. It expires in 24 hours. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Quick, 10 seconds each. Home run picks. What you got? Sell me on someone.
I'm going Bregman. I'm going Bregman plus 450.
Hitting that game against
for
Andrew
sure.
Haney.
Yeah, I think he's going to get out in front of one and get it around those Crawford boxes.
I like it. Kratzy?
Shohei plus 260. Lorenzen's going to leave one out there for him. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Shohei hasn't had a home run in 5 minutes. And then Lindor for me against the lefty tonight, plus 360 for me. I like it. I think the Mets are going to win this one too. So if you're watching us on Stadium, flip right over to the Foul Territory YouTube channel. We'll continue this for another hour. That includes a little more Kiké Hernandez talk. The Cardinals trying to extend Jordan Hicks. We'll get into that right at the top here. And then Ross Stripling is going to join us, and Braves media personality Grant McCauley too.